to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clear with a low of 68, then Tuesday, sunshine with a high of 81. The Great Wall has been your home for Chinese favorites since 1981. Don't miss the sesame chicken, mushu pork with Chinese pancakes, or Peking duck. Stop in at the restaurant on France Avenue and 45th Street along the Minneapolis-Edina City line, or check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I just want to start off, say it was a really good day today. It's a lot of fun, and it's always nice to be at certain organizations and be a part of certain things. And today I was helping out with shooting video for a talk that the founder of our company, Daniel Squadron, put on today at Next Chapter Books in St. Paul, Minnesota, talking about his book, The Fourth Branch. And it was a great conversation, very engaging. But of course, while I was there, and Next Chapter Books had been a sponsor of AM 950 for a number of years, and I had to ask, is there a paranormal section in this bookstore? And they looked at me and they're like, not paranormal per se, but we do have a number of books about Minnesota hauntings, and it's right over there. And I go and I take a look over there. I'm like, yeah, not bad at all. And I think this was something that I really wanted to kind of drive home today before we get to our guest, is the idea that the local bookstore, and I say this every time we have an author on, which we're about to have on right now, but every time I have an author on, I'm talking about the local bookstore situation, because that's something that, we can't take for granted, and we have to support them. And even though I talk about my Amazon affiliated links, and I will continue to talk about my Amazon affiliated links, I do always tell people, please go to your local bookstore and ask if you can order the title. And if you can't, please use my Amazon affiliated book link. But the thing is, even if there isn't a book you want, head on down to Next Chapter Books, check out their section on Haunted Minnesota. They have a section on true crime. They have all this stuff, and they also have way more than just that. And they couldn't have been kinder to us today as we put together this book signing and this wonderful talk. And so, we're all in this together, right? And we all are trying to make sure that we can support each other in our community, and this is a great way to do so. We're going to be talking about supporting each other in another way now, because I am very happy to have with me tonight, and we've had him on before. He is fantastic. We actually talked about the conclave the last time that we had Father Bob Bailey on the program. It was just around the time that the Catholic Church was getting a new pope, and I wanted to understand how all that works. Just recently, Father Bob had just written a book called The Art of the Battle, which is strategies for defeating the powers of darkness. And we want to talk about that tonight. And so I am very happy to be able to bring on Father Bob Bailey. Welcome to GhostBox Radio, Father Bob. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. A beautiful day today. We've had such a heat spell. Today was a welcome relief. So it was great to be out, and a really great, wonderful day.
It was horrible here today. I'm not going to lie. It was it was very hot and very humid. And not to give away too much information, folks, don't be weirded out. I never wear pants. I always wear shorts. Even in the winter, I'm one of those type of people that always wear shorts. And because of the event today, I decided to, in my world, dress up a little bit. That meant wearing pants. And it was horrible. And I just felt bad. It would be okay if I even looked good in it. I didn't even look good in it. So, you have that working against you. First of all, Father Bob, I mean, this has been like a year-long celebration, but happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday. It was a milestone birthday for you this year, wasn't it?
Yep. I finally get my senior discounts.
Which is what we all strive for, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the only perk about getting old.
Well, and every time I'm on Facebook, is like, oh, look, Father Bob is having another birthday celebration. Oh, look, there he is having another birthday celebration. For goodness sake, my goodness.
It's just been kind of a joke over the years because my friends, we can't all get together. So like this one will take me out this time, and kind of we do that for each other. So yeah, it tends to stretch out, which is neat.
And
Tonight
why not?
was my last one.
Well, and the thing is, it's never a bad thing to feel loved, isn't it? I mean, you have good friends, people who really care about you and want to make sure that you're happy. You can't have it any better than that, I would think.
True.
So let's talk about your book. The book is called The Art of the Battle, and it is strategies for defeating the powers of darkness. I mean, that seems like pretty much it's what the book is right there. But what more to it is it than just that? I mean, I look, because I started off because I actually don't have this one myself. Because I reached out to you. I wanted to just have you on to talk about it. And on Amazon, where I was trying to get a description of what the book is, do you have to pay by the word on there or something? Because it says strategy for defeating the powers of darkness. Like, I could use a little bit more than that, quite frankly.
Oh, I don't know. I'm such a novice when it comes to all of that.
Right. When you became a priest, did you ever think that you're going to have to learn how to be like your own PR person, and that you're going to be writing books about? I mean, it's a pretty incredible career, really. I mean, congratulations on that.
To let you in on a little secret, I never wanted to write a book. That was too daunting for me. And it's just like, oh, please. So the idea came into my mind that I won't write a book, I'll write a workbook. And that's actually what this is.
Yeah.
It's a workbook, a handbook for investigative groups or anybody who's doing investigation, should they run into something negative, demonic, or whatever. And it's just based on my experience and just filled with different things to assist people in that area. And if people want to learn, because I believe that people go into investigations, they need to protect themselves. So
yeah.
And this is kind of sharing my world with them, with everyone.
I'm curious your thoughts on this, and I think this is going to be a lot of what we talk about tonight, because I think there's so much that can be bounced off of this book, and I'm a cynic perhaps, and maybe you have a better sort of take on it. I find that there's a lot of people who do not believe in going into these investigations protected. I find that there are people who think that they're being braver to go in without them being in protected or trying to protect themselves in some way. And Father Bob, that scares me, quite frankly, because I feel like that when I run into people like that, they're not taking this very seriously at all.
Yeah, I agree, and which is the reason why I wanted to share the book, because the workbook, because um, regardless of what you're going into the unknown, and the unknown, has all different ramifications to that. Entering into that kind of investigation, you don't know what you're going to run into, but you definitely may end up running into something otherworldly. So, as a safeguard, just like if you were going on a trip, you're going to want to have things, if it may rain, you're going to want to take something to protect you from the rain. If it's going to be beating hot, you want to take something to protect you from the sun. Same thing with investigations. Nobody is above if they encounter a negative spirit. No one is human being can take that on alone. And my fear is that people think they're invincible. They don't understand the principles of good versus evil.
Yeah.
And some don't even consider that, when they go in. And I don't know how you can believe in ghosts and stuff, but not have spirituality and believe in God and the devil. It just baffles my mind.
It's interesting because I think people, and maybe I'm wrong here, I think people believe in evil, right? But they don't always attribute it to any, like you just said, they don't really attribute it to like God or the devil. They just attribute it as evil. Do you think that that's a misstep for people when they can understand that something could be dark or evil, but they don't believe in God or the devil?
Right. Now, there's definitely evil things that people do. Okay. And so that's not necessarily, demonic, as in, directly demonic. However, when you're doing in the realm of the paranormal, you're dealing with the spirituality, here. You're dealing with spirit, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And so you have to consider that it's a whole different realm.
Yeah.
And even when you're dealing with uh, non-demonic spirits, you know, they can also manipulate. The non-human spirits can manipulate. So you have to be on guard, and you have to have some kind of a protection, whatever it is. I'm a Christian, so I use Christian protection. But you have to go in there fully armed to be able to do a safe investigation. Maybe all of the investigations will will go smoothly, most of them, but you may run into that one. So why not be prepared? I'm an Eagle Scout. What is the Scout motto? Be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What I mean, and are you saying then basically like you need to have something to go in there that grounds you, that protects you, and faith of some kind of faith. You have to have faith in something. That's going to be the differentiation, right?
Right, right. Especially when you're going into the unknown, into the paranormal.
Yeah.
We're not going into the normal world. We're not, going into, to see a group of people. You're going into a realm where you want to find something otherworldly. And it's an area that we don't fully understand. And anybody who thinks that they do fully understand the otherworldly,
Yep.
stay away. We're
It
always learning. We're always
it's
learning.
it's so true. It's so true. While we're on this subject, do you mind taking a question from our comments?
Sure.
So Joshua has a question. He says, is there really such a thing as protection with darkness?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, when you're dealing with, there's darkness and light, there's good and there's evil, there's God, and there is Satan. And so God gives us the means in order to protect us. The number one thing is faith, because that unlocks the other types of protection that we use. But our faith is what should motivate and be the armor in which we go in when when we're investigating.
And this isn't a knock on Joshua, who we always have such great questions, and he gets himself involved with the show, and really appreciate it.
Frozen.
What's that, Bob? Ooh, I don't. Looks like I might have lost Father Bob here. Why don't we go ahead and do this? While we wait to see if we get him back, and hopefully it's not me actually that went out. Why don't we go ahead and take our first break here? When we come back, we're going to continue talking about this with Father Bob or without Father Bob. We'll see, but I think we'll get him back here, and we'll just kind of keep things going. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Moonstone Minneapolis is a queer-owned, community-focused gift shop in South Minneapolis centered on curiosity, connection, and self-discovery. Explore astrology, tarot, crystals, herbs, mindfulness, and spiritual practices in a welcoming environment for all backgrounds and experience levels. Located at 3304 East Lake Street in Minneapolis, Moonstone Minneapolis also hosts makers markets, classes, and community events. Learn more at moonstoneMPLS.com and discover a welcoming place to explore with curiosity and respect. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Looking for something different for family fun, a night out with friends, or your next team-building event? Try the escape rooms at Lilliput. Step into the haunted mansion, race to find a cure in the bunker, or survive Night of the Wolf, all with just 60 minutes to escape. It's private, immersive, and perfect for groups of all kinds. Book your adventure now, spots fill fast. Visit lilliput.net and see if your team has what it takes to escape. Now, I haven't brought this up in a while, but I know everyone likes to eat good food, and you need to go out to Maverick's Grill Roast Beef. You might be like, well, Greg, it's the summer. That would be the last thing that I'd like to go is get a big roast beef sandwich. Well, you'd be wrong, because it's very good and very delicious, and they also do more than just roast beef. But then I'd go to also say, when you're done with that, just walk just a little ways into the parking lot, and they also have their ice cream parlor called Sprinkles. And over at Sprinkles, you can get all sorts of wonderful, delicious ice cream treats. And I may have been there way too often, whatever, right? So get out there, enjoy, and would really appreciate you all checking it out, and get yourself a roast beef sandwich. I'm going to be going out there again in a couple weeks, and I keep talking about putting a little group together. We'll all go out. Maybe they give us some kind of deal or something. We'll talk about that. We'll keep that going. Also, before we bring back Father Bob, I just want to quickly say that this Friday at the Pillsbury Club, we are doing our investigation, our bi-weekly investigation. Char Savoy will be joining me. We are going to be investigating the top 2 floors of this mansion you keep hearing about. Get tickets, be a part of the investigation. But here we go. Now they have a restaurant at the Pillsbury Club. You do not want to miss that. I've already tried it. Okay. I've done the work for you. I've tried it. It's delicious. Go out there, get some good food. But here's the kicker. They now serve booze, and that got my attention as well. So go out there, get a little liquored up out there, do investigation. I can't believe I'm even saying that, quite frankly, but definitely get the food, and I hope to see you out there this Friday. We are talking to Father Bob Bailey, who disappeared. He is back now. Of course, people blame me for his disappearance. Nancy says in the comments, "What did you do?" Folks, come on, right? I don't have that kind of power. I don't have
We have the Wi-Fi here has been horrible for a few weeks.
I just was like, what did I say? You kind of froze. Here's the other thing, Father Bob. You work against the power of darkness. You literally work against the power of darkness. Do you ever feel that it's more than a coincidence when you start talking about protecting yourself from these powers of evil, that then you get taken off like that? I know that you have bad Wi-Fi, but do you ever think that it's more than that, or you're just like, no, it's just the Wi-Fi?
Well, at times I think some things did. This one, I don't know. I mean, God works first and foremost through the natural, and so could the enemy. So it could be, yeah. I mean, I know that has happened. The powers of darkness do work against you when you're trying to do the work.
Absolutely. Now, once again, the new book by Father Bob Bailey is The Art of the Battle. And I do want to say, once again, go to your local bookstore, see if you could order it. Like Father Bob said, it's more of a workbook, but also you can go ahead and support GhostBox Radio by getting it through ghostboxradio.com, Ghostbox Book Club. It's an affiliated link, so it gives us a little bit of money to support GhostBox. But the thing is that your internet connection prior to be taken off there seemed pretty strong. And like when we had you on talking about the conclave, it wasn't very strong, and you lasted the full hour. Here you seem pretty strong, I thought. So it's just interesting. I'm not saying, one way or the other, but I just thought it was very interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. You're just like, let's talk more about my book, and that's fair.
No.
I want to go back to something though that we were talking about prior to you deciding that I was no longer worth talking to. When Joshua said, "Is there really such thing as protection with darkness?" And one of the things I wanted to bring up about that. And like I said, this isn't what I'm going to say isn't a knock against Joshua. It's made me think, though, is that if you go into an investigation thinking that there isn't protection from darkness, you shouldn't be going in and doing an investigation at all then, right?
Correct. I believe people that are going to do investigations have to be open to the idea that they may at some point, especially if they're doing a lot of investigations, uh, you know, run into something negative or dark.
Yeah.
And so they need, when you go in, you need, because a lot of the times, if it's a demonic presence, they can masquerade as something other than demonic to lure you in. And that's happened before. It's been chronicled that, people, like think it's a little child or something, but it isn't.
No.
So you have to go in protected, even if you're going into a place that you think may be a benign haunting. You don't know. Just protect yourself. Go in there protected. Nothing is lost. Everything is gained by going in and being prepared. Remember the Scout motto: just be prepared.
It's also worth a reminder for people, and if you do investigations with like myself or Shar, we're also going to do a protection at the end of the investigation
Yes,
as well.
that's a great point. Because what I do is I say you are not allowed to touch. You are not allowed to attach to. You're not allowed to follow any of us home. And again, I don't pray in my own name, because if the spirits see, who's Bob Bailey, well, yeah, I'm a priest, but my own power. The reason why I can do it, because I speak in the authority of Christ, and all of us have that authority.
Yeah.
So you got to make it in the name of your higher power.
Do you still? Are you retired? I
I
know
am.
we talked. Okay, so you're not necessarily taking on any cases anymore, right?
I do occasionally. I have a couple local
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Hmm.
Only, well, I can't say that I'm consulted. I was called in for that. So, yeah, I mean, I still like to help people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That makes
but
sense. Where? I mean, I have an opinion on this, but where do you think we need to, if we're doing an investigation? When I say we, not you, like myself and maybe a team or something like that, we're doing an investigation and we're getting an inkling that maybe there's something that's darker here than in just a grumpy spirit. When do you think we should bring in someone like yourself into an investigation, or start trying to consult with someone?
if you've done an investigation and you have evidence that there may be something darker, okay, and it's getting worse, it's affecting negatively the homeowners, family, whoever is at that place, then at that point you need to reassess, okay, do we have the means to go forward knowing that we believe there's something negative here? And
Hmm.
if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no fault. It's just
Did I lose you again?
you may not. So then
Oh,
you would call in someone.
yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
You kind of disappeared for a moment again, and it's like, my goodness, as we're talking
it's the
about.
Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. The Wi-Fi. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
No. It.
but
It's. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I'm just saying. So that would be there. Like, for instance, I just went one to a house, not far from where I live. I was called in by an investigative group who believes that there was something not good there. So they did an investigation. I did some provocation and all that. Now we're going to have a Zoom meeting and then decide. I said, well, on my part, it never hurts to bless the house. So either way, I'm going to do that,
Mhm.
regardless of what we find. Because they have a habit of hiding when the priest comes. Can you hear me?
It's interesting, isn't that, how that works? And
Yeah.
I yeah, I can.
Okay.
You kind of get in and out a little bit, but yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
Let's see
it's a
here.
phenomenon.
There was some. I was trying. I have a feeling now we have a big delay between us for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Just we'll try to make it work. I've been on investigations where we were kind of counting in some of this, like we felt like there was like the 4 signs of demonic possession in a household. I was like counting because it's like what they're going through seems to be happening there. And we didn't waste any time to reach out to somebody who could deal with it, because it's like, I don't want anything to do with this. I am not qualified for any of this.
Hmm. Yeah, and that was smart to do. Very smart, for the sake of the homeowners and for your own sake.
Yeah. But also, I think one of the things, and how do you feel about where it's like that when you feel like there's darkness around you, like you got to do something about it. Like you gotta like put up the shades, have some light come in, bring some flowers into the house, kind of make it seem much more much lighter in there, literally, but also about talking, like not trying to talk about what's happening in there. Do you have a take on whether or not you should be like still talking with your family about what's happening in the house, because that seems like that kind of builds it up more? Or am I off on that?
No, no, no. I agree with that. Part of the maintenance, because that's what it is. I have what I call prescriptions,
Sure.
after for certain things, and one of them is exactly to do that. If I go through the house and there's clutter everywhere, you know, especially in the places where some of the activity happens, I tell them, listen, you've got to clean, you've got to make it order, because it to the other side, it looks like chaos, and they thrive on that. So you need to have order in the house. The other thing, yes, is to make the house lighter. Put some positive, beautiful music. Put Christian music. Put whatever, but something positive. And yeah, after it's over, don't talk about it. I mean, I know people go, I hope doesn't happen again, or I hope nothing, and then you're sensitive to any little ding that happens in the house.
Yeah.
And that can be counterproductive especially after the blessing of the house. Um, I remember I was there, and a psychic came in and said, "Oh, you know who's here?" And I said, "I don't want to know who's here. And
Right.
please, let's stop this.
Yeah.
Let's start. Don't start generating the energy again for something. Something might happen. So yeah, it's a new day. Give them water, a holy water or whatever, and say your prayers of protection. Those you can maintain, and those you should maintain."
Absolutely. I got an interesting comment here. I don't quite understand. Joshua says, get professional psychic or church that you trust. I don't like provocation and use provocative techniques. Who are you talking to, Joshua? Are you talking to Father Bob, or are you talking to me? Because I don't think I understand either way, either side, what you mean there. And unless I'm completely missing the boat on what you're
Yeah.
talking about here, because I think what we're basically saying is the exact opposite of that, where in my case, I'm saying, if I'm running into it, if I start seeing it in any way, I'm handing it over to someone like Father Bob, and Father Bob will do what he needs to do, because like you said, that's somebody in the church that I would trust.
Right. Yeah, and I will use religious provocation to get some kind of response, to know whether something is there. Um,
But
and
that's different though.
right.
I mean, that's just
Right.
because that is and once you get into, say, if someone's doing an exorcism, that's even more profound. That provocation is even much bigger then, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I that's just kind of how that works. But that's, you know what you're doing. If I were to start doing that, I don't know what I'm doing, and that would be wrong.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think some people say, if it's a benign spirit, sometimes people go in like gangbusters and start really being provocative with a human spirit that might be trapped or whatever. Have a little respect. Maybe that's what he's talking about, and that I agree
Sure.
with.
And I think that's where I'm saying it's different, because you're going to do that once you go in, and like you just said, once you get some kind of like evidence of something's happening there that seems like it could be of a very dark nature. That's when you're being brought in. That's when you're going in, and that's when you're using that provocative language. Whereas I'm, like you just said, I'm not going to go into any location and do some and use provocative language, because I'm going in only trying to speak to spirits of light. And I'm personally not somebody who likes to go to the dark prisons or anything like that. I've been there, done that. I don't need to do that. My journey with spirit is very different than that. So that's why, like, running into something like that, like I did that one time, it's like, nope, I need to get somebody else who knows how to do that, because I don't want the backlash of what that becomes happening in my life.
Right.
So why don't we do this? I want to go ahead, take a break here, and kind of talk. I want to talk about a couple other things that's in the book. I want to talk about other things that are going on in your life. I want to talk about a little bit, if you're fine with it, talking about your work with the Warrens, if that's good, and just kind of keep this conversation going. I also like the comments that are in the comments section. If you have questions for Father Bob regarding this topic, regarding this book, I would greatly appreciate it. I think it's a great conversation. I'm happy to have it. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Moonstone Minneapolis is a queer-owned, community-focused gift shop in South Minneapolis centered on curiosity, connection, and self-discovery. Explore astrology, tarot, crystals, herbs, mindfulness, and spiritual practices in a welcoming environment for all backgrounds and experience levels. Located at 3304 East Lake Street in Minneapolis, Moonstone Minneapolis also hosts makers markets, classes, and community events. Learn more at moonstonempls.com and discover a welcoming place to explore with curiosity and respect. It's that time of year where the weather is getting nice and it's time to get out of the house for some family fun. Lily Putt is open for the season, and you know what that means. Lily Putt is known for its mini golf, go-karts, glow golf, jump pads, kiddie carts, gem mining, and even a new arcade. Lily Putt also has interactive and engaging escape rooms like the Haunted Mansion, the Bunker, or Night of the Wolf. Lily Putt is perfect for parties and group events. Stop by lilyputt.net for more information and hours of operation. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We are going to be talking with radio host Damian Perdue. He does a show on WCPT Radio in Chicago called Think Theory Radio. I was on his show on the 4th of July. I thought it'd be great to have him on my program. We're going to talk about what he finds in this realm of paranormal. I want to get his take on it because I shared mine when I was on his show. But talk a little bit and get to know him a little bit, and hopefully get some of you to check out Think Theory Radio. It airs every Saturday night. That airs at 6 p.m. on WCPT. You can stream it. You can go to his, I believe you can go to his YouTube page and take a look about it afterwards and take part. And we'll talk more about all that tomorrow. I am very happy because we have with us tonight Father Bob Bailey. We are talking about his book, his workbook, I guess, The Art of the Battle. And we're kind of going through all of this right now. And it's a fascinating conversation tonight. And Joshua, it's very clearly fascinating to him. He has a lot of great thoughts about what you're talking about. So he wants to know this, Father Bob. He says, does Father Bob believe we all have the power to defeat the darkness and evil forces, even if we are not particularly religious, and how?
Good question. I think in order to defeat something like this, you have to have faith. That's what conquers, because through faith, we allow, God to work through us in defeating the enemy. So again, going into something like that and thinking that we of ourselves have that, it can be very dangerous. It can be, it can be something that that can make us easily fall into any kind of trap that the enemy has. We go in there. We do have the power, but in God's name, and I, as a Christian, in the name of Jesus Christ, and so you need that in order to be able to conquer the powers of darkness. Do we have that power? Yes. Does it always work instantaneously? No. We don't know why.
Do we lose him again? It is pretty bad. Okay, there we are. We kind of lose you every once in a while. I'm like, gosh, that Wi-Fi is really bad. I'm not trying to shame you over there, but let's do a GoFundMe for good Wi-Fi for Father Bob.
They're supposed to be putting new one is in the residence here, so I'm hoping.
I think it's bad. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It just like, okay, who's behind it this time?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when you defeat darkness, when like on an individual level, are you truly defeating it, or are you only defeating it for yourself, but that same darkness is around for like the next person? It's like you don't destroy it or anything, right? But you get it out of your own life.
Right. You get it out of your own life. You get it out of the situation. where it goes, I try to send it. I send it to the cross
Okay.
of Christ. Some people say go back to where you came from. Send it back to hell or whatever. But I always send it to Christ. And where it goes once it leaves, we don't really know for sure. You know, but the important thing is that we defeat it in our own lives or in the lives of our clients that
Yeah.
we work with.
And I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And then, like you say, I don't know where it goes, but that's part of it, right? We don't want to think about it anymore either.
No, you don't. You don't. It's when I bless a home, I create a hedge of protection around it, and I even have them bury blessed metals in the four corners to create that, and ask the angels to watch over the four corners so that it can't return. And so we pray for that. However, it's not foolproof if you start doing things that can invite it back. It will come back, and it probably will come back worse. You know.
Right. And it's because I suppose over time, especially too, if you are inviting it back and it might have that barrier
Mhm.
the first time, the barriers wear down after a while, don't they?
Well, I don't know if they wear down. I think that our faith can sustain it, and I think the blessings will stay. But our faith fortifies that. You know, it's just like whatever I use. Now, for instance, the Rosary, the Virgin Mary is very important in my ministry. I see a lot of people using rosaries, but they have no idea what they are. They don't pray them. They don't know anything about them. Uh, Now, they might be blessed, and yes, that will have an effect. But what transforms that rosary into a weapon against evil is the faith, is the fact that I pray those beads. Not necessarily those particular ones, but I pray the rosary so that when I hold that up towards evil, they know that this is my weapon, that I know how to defeat through that. And that's the difference.
I,
So I tell people, like, if you're having the rosary, look it up, pray it, so
mhm.
that it can be a weapon for you.
I'd like to switch gears a little bit, but I think it's on the same wavelength. There's something I've always wanted to know, and kind of switching over to some of the Warren stuff that
Mhm.
you're a part of. And I had Wade Kirby on the
Oh yeah,
program. Yeah, you know very well.
yeah.
I've had him on the program last Halloween. We went into great detail about the tour with Annabelle around the country, and hearing about the certain aspects and the certain things that you have that they all had to take part in, you had to take part in to keep that whatever is in there contained. uh are you the one who does all the blessings on the doll and the case?
I do the blessings. Wade also does, does the home and I believe the museum also using fumigation, holy incense and
Hmm.
water, the objects there. Um, the funny thing is, there are a lot of people who know nothing and run around saying, "Oh, those things, there's nothing to them. They're fake. Annabelle's fake. They're full of baloney." I did an experiment with a tape recorder, a digital recorder, and I did religious provocation on the Shadow Doll and Annabelle. And I tell you, when we played it back, and I prayed prayers in Latin, and I asked if they accepted the Lordship of Jesus Christ, there were growls that everybody heard on that tape recorder. And for me, I'm not afraid of those things at all. It unnerved me,
Wow.
growling. So,
What is attached to that doll? What is in that doll?
well, it's some kind of a demonic force. We don't know, or at least I don't know what it
It
is. But there's definitely, I mean, I've seen it even where it worked Wade will tell you, we got in this ridiculous big fight in New Orleans. It just, and the doll was there. So, we realized that it was turning us against each other because it was really nonsensical why this started.
Do you?
And
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, and it's real. It's real.
So here's the thing, I'm just going to say Joshua is like, well, that doesn't sound very priestly, just saying don't provoke. I don't think you understand the full situation to be able to say that, though. And I'm just going to stand up for Father Bob here, because this is, if anyone who knows the history of Annabelle knows that there's a deep story, there is a deep history there. And I've had Wade message me in the past saying, you wouldn't believe what we're getting through the spirit box right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to ask you, when you are doing these blessings, are you trying to keep whatever is in and surrounding the doll kind of with it, so it doesn't go out and wreak
Correct.
havoc to anyone else?
Correct. Yes.
Now, do you believe that the big plantation fire in New Orleans or in Louisiana, did that have anything to do with
No.
Annabelle?
No, I don't.
I don't
I
either.
think no, and I don't. But obviously, Dan Rivera's death had nothing to do with Annabelle, contrary to just really horrible commentaries by people, and nor the jailbreak that happened.
Right. Because if that were the case, then it would also say that everything that you're all doing isn't working. Because if you can
Right.
have that, yeah. And has it recently been 1 year since Dan had passed?
Yes.
So I just want
Yeah,
to
last week.
I just want to start by saying I'm very sorry for your loss of a very good friend.
Yes, he was.
And it just it's really too bad that and what I like about it is that his memory is very well preserved with all of you. So,
and as a matter of fact, I dedicated the book to Dan.
oh, that's nice.
The workbook.
That's nice.
Because many years ago he visited me when I was a pastor, and we talked about protection. And I don't remember a lot of it, but he reminded me. I guess I gave him the prayers that I use, in doing house liberations. And when I saw him on The Devil's on the Run, he told me, he said, "You know what?" He said, "You gave me that years ago, and I still have it, and I give it to people to use." And that meant so much to me. And so that's why I felt, not only because he's my friend, but because of that, I dedicated the workbook to him.
Absolutely. And we have about 2 minutes left in the program. And I thought to myself, if you're up for it sometime, I would love, if you're able to talk about it. Maybe you're not even able to talk about it. I don't know what you're able to talk about, but maybe get like you and Wade on the show at some point and kind of talk more about, if you're able to, the whole Annabelle thing, because I find it very fascinating, actually. I mean, obviously I have, my tribute behind me here. It's real fast because we don't have much time left. What do you think about people like me who do this? Do you think that's dangerous in the sense of even just acknowledging the existence in that way?
Some people might say yes, but I don't know. I have a little Annabelle.
Well, you have a big Annabelle too. You take care of her. You bless her every week. But okay.
But they had ones available, and it was the money that was raised for that went to Dan's family, his widow, and his family. And because I said, I'm not buying any of that nonsense. Then when I found out that's what it was, I melted. And then it's been in the museum, But it's just I have it because I've worked, with, the Devil's on the Run with Nesper. So, yeah, I don't think no, unless you are conjuring something up, don't worry about it.
No. Only thing I'm trying to conjure up is listeners, and I haven't had much luck with that so far. So, what can you do, right? So, so
Yeah.
let me tell you a quick story, and listeners have heard this a billion times. I got her off of Etsy. She's vintage, Raggedy Ann, and the day I brought her into the house. My friend Shar, who's a psychic medium, didn't know I brought anything like that into the house, and she sends me a text. She goes, "What did you just bring in your house?" And it's some, I move her quite a bit because I put other stuff on there for other videos I make and stuff, and I always treat her with respect. I don't just pick her up and put her down somewhere. I make sure she's still sitting and all that stuff. So yeah, there you go, Father Bob. We got to get going here. We're running out of time.
Okay.
I'd love to have you back sometime if you're up for it. I really enjoy this. And once again, folks,
hopefully I'll have a better Wi-Fi by then.
You keep saying that. Once again, though, I want to say that you can pick up the book, The Art of the Battle, Strategies.
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Use my affiliated link on GhostBox Radio, GhostBox Book Club. I'd really appreciate it, or just get it. But you should have it, especially if you're doing paranormal investigations. Father Bob, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. We're talking with Damien Perdue. Everyone, have a good night.